our session, as usual, let's recapitulate what we have already learned. So for this, today we will be doing with another strategy, that is ticket to entry. So if you could write it here, so you need to write here what we have already learned in chapter number 14. So if you can't write any points, then you are not allowed to enter this session. So are you clear with the instruction?
Yes, ma'am.
So please come out. Take turn to write. Please maintain silence. You should not repeat the point.
Start.
Wait for others. Here's the marker you can use. Start. Write what's your understanding on this topic, okay? Silence. Don't discuss.
정말 죽은 후다 재밌겠다. 진짜 멋지게 나වි라.
Misuse of statistics. Oh, line of them are strong. Not necessarily top of the crystal.
Stop with your discussion. Anything that you understand from that chapter. Yes, you can write anything. You can write it in points.
Let her write peacefully.
You can write down your own understanding.
Let her write. It's okay. But keep it short.
You can write only one point. Let's give opportunity to others as well. You can write any point that you remember from the last session. Last session or anything from chapter number 14. Silence. Don't discuss. You can write it in key points. Any topic that you remember from the last session. No, you just need to write the key points. You can pick up another point.
Change the term. I'm seeing the stuff for the entire year. So locate the roll number, okay? And varieties of figures around the textbook, assign that against each roll number. 9 students assigned area. Diagram.
Okay, now we are done with recapitulation of lesson. So by looking at your answers, so most of you have written the definition of statistic. You have also mentioned about some of the importance of statistic and some of the limitations of statistic. So by looking at your answer, it seems like you are clear with this concept. So in the previous chapter we have in this chapter we have studied about the statistics. So under this we have studied about importance of statistics. So some of the importance of statistics are, it helps us in understanding the performance of the economic as a whole. Then it also helps us in determining the roles and contribution that has been made by different sectors. Then it also helps us in ensuring the better utilization of resources, that is plant development. And it also helps us in understanding the basic principles of economics. Then the statistic, it also encourages research. Am I right? So do you have any doubt regarding the importance of statistics? Then there are lots of importance of statistics. At the same time, there are also some limitations. So what are some of the limitations of statistics now? It is based on average, yes. Then no. Qualitative aspect is ignored. Then it leads to the negligence of economic phenomenon. Then
Improper use of
and it can lead to the improper use of statistics. So do you have any doubt regarding the limitations of statistics? No. Are Are you clear with this concept?
Yes, ma'am.
And just a reminder, it is high time for you to prepare for the upcoming examination. Now you are just left with 20 days. So it is never too late to start. So within 20 days, you can make a lot of differences. So start studying from today itself if you haven't started. Okay? And if you have any doubt or issue regarding academic or any other personal issue, then if you feel comfortable, do let me know. I'll try to help you all. Okay? And if you have any doubt regarding the earlier concepts, you can also approach to me. Let's sort it out together. Okay? So are you ready for today's session?
Yes, ma'am.
If you are ready, then let's start our countdown from 5 to 1. Start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's start again. I can't see any energy.
5,
4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Let's start now. So in today's class, we are going to study about data. So before we look into what it is meant by data, let me take this opportunity to present you the lesson objective. So by the end of this session, you will be able to define what it is meant by data and why it is important in daily life. Secondly, you will be able to differentiate between primary source of data and the secondary source of data. And thirdly, you will be able to appreciate the role of data in the various aspects of life, including personal, academic, and professional contexts. So these are the three desired objectives for this lesson. So in order to fulfill those objectives, I'll take you through the definition of data, which means what it is meant by the data. Then secondly, we will look at different sources of data. Thirdly, we will look at some of the methods through which we will be able to collect data. So are you ready for the session now?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you excited?
Yes, ma'am.
Firstly, let us look at the definition of data. So data are the numerical description of certain observation, which means data are the numbers. Data are the numbers that talks about those things which we can see or study. For example, if you want to find out how many apples are there in the basket, and first thing you need to do is you need to count the apples in the basket. And you found out that there are 10 apples in the basket. Now, this 10 is the data. This 10 is the numerical data through which we will be able to know how many apples are present in the basket. Another example that I can cite to you right now is if I want to find out the overall performance of this class in the economics subject, the first task is I need to collect the individual marks of the students, right? After collecting the marks, then only I will be able to analyze, interpret, and draw the conclusion. So the marks which I have obtained from you all is the data. So does it make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
So data, it is about the numbers or the information which help us to know about the world around us. So are you clear with the definition?
Yes.
Data, they are the numerical terms which help us to analyze, interpret, and make conclusion from any situations. So are you clear with the definition of data?
Yes,
ma'am.
Yes?
Yes,
So data, it can be also defined as the collection of raw facts, then figures, statistics, or any information which can be presented in various forms, such as number, text, image, or any other representations through which we can analyze and draw the conclusion. Are you clear with the definition?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you sure?
Yes, ma'am.
So, if you have understood it clearly, show me thumbs up. Are you clear?
Yes,
Yes? Now, if you're clear with the definition of data, now let us look at the types of data. So, basically, there are two types of data, which is known as raw data and ordered data. Raw data, from the title itself, we can make it out that it is something which is not filtered or it is in unorganized form. So raw data, it is also known as unprocessed or unorganized data. So in this case, the data are directly obtained from the various sources, such as survey, through interview or through recording. So in this case, the data are directly, data or the informations are directly collected from the original source. So in this case, the data are not in the organized way or the manner. Are you getting?
Yes.
So ordered data, it is just the opposite of raw data. Ordered data, it is the data which is organized or arranged in a systematical manner. So it is also known as structured data and structured data because the data or the informations are arranged in a systematical manner. So it refers to the information that has been organized and arranged in a systematical manner. So some of the example of ordered data can be the database, spreadsheets, as well as the tables, where the information can be categorized, labeled into there, and sort out in the specific fields. So in this case, now you should be reminded that in the case of ordered data, the data or the informations are ordered or arranged in a systematical manner. Whereas the raw data, it is the data or information which are unprocessed or is in the unorganized manner. So did you find the difference between the raw data and ordered data?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you clear with this? Yes? Now, if you're clear with the definition of data and types of data, now let's move on with our first activity, and it is the individual activity. So first thingly, I want you all to turn to page number 178, and in your group, all the odd number, that is 1 and 3, will read on primary data. And all the even number, that is 2 and 4, will read on secondary data. After that, you will share it with your shoulder partner. So 1 and 3 will talk on primary data, and 2 and 4 will talk on secondary data, and later you will share it with each other. So for this activity, I'll provide you with 3 minutes to read on the primary and secondary, and later you need to analyze it. So as a follow-up activity, I will choose some students randomly. Are you clear with the instruction?
Yes, ma'am.
If you're clear, then can anybody repeat the instruction for us? Anybody? Or should I call out the roll number?
Yes,
Roll number 14.
The activity that we are going to do is
Listen.
individual activity, where we are going to read on primary data and secondary data according to odd number and even number. And after that, when we are done with reading, we are going to share with our shoulder partner everyone will be provided with 3 minutes each, and when we are done with this activity, ma'am is going to call and we shall do
Somebody random. Okay, thank you so much. So number 1 and 3 will read on primary source of data, and number 2 and 4 will read on secondary data. And you will be provided with 3 minutes. So start reading. Your time starts now. If you have any doubt, do let me know. Time's up. Class, class.
Yes.
Class, class.
Yes.
Class, class.
Yes.
Are you done reading on the primary and secondary source of data?
Yes, ma'am.
Now the next task is to share it with your shoulder partner. Now 1 and 2 will share it with each other, and 3 and 4 will share it your understanding on the assigned topic. So you can discuss with them. If you're done, you can say bingo.
Bingo!
Together, kilinamge.
1, 2, 3. Bingo!
1, 2, 3, bingo.
1, 2, 3.
Bingo.
Bingo!
1, 2, 3, bingo.
Bingo!
Okay. It seems like you are done with the discussion. Class.
Yes, sir.
1, 2.
Eyes on you.
1, 2.
Eyes on you.
Okay. Now, as a follow-up activity, I'm going to spin this wheel. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can we have roll number 13? Okay, you can share your discussion to the class. Class, listen. You can share on primary source.
So, primary source, as we have learned in our history class, it is the first-hand source collected by an investigator or the collector from the investigations or from field work, and it is considered as a reliable source or authentic because it is the original source and collected for the first time.
Okay, thank you so much, Vishnu. So, let's give a round of applause for Vishnu. So, according to her, primary source of data are the first-hand information. Is it right?
Yes, ma'am.
Then let's hear on secondary source. Can we have roll number 4?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Peji, you can talk on the secondary source of data.
The second one, secondary data. Under that, it is the second-hand information. It is that second-hand information that it is not originally collected from. It already it collect from published or unpublished data.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's give a round of applause for Doji as well. So, according to him, the secondary source of data are the second-hand data which has already been published. So, any volunteers? Anybody would like to add on it? Anybody? Volunteer? Come in. You want me to spin it again? Yes? Let's go for one round. We have roll number 9. You can state the difference between primary source and secondary source of data.
Main difference between the primary source data and the secondary source data is first one. Primary source data is the first-hand information, whereas secondary source data is the second-hand information. And primary data are original and reliable, whereas secondary are not original collected.
Can you provide any examples?
Primary data are collected through investigators and field workers, whereas the secondary data are collected through the published ones.
Okay, thank you. Very good. It is correct. Thank you. Now, would you mind to give a round of applause for the Sanjay as well? So, Sanjay have stated the difference between primary source of data and secondary source of data. Now, let us look at the main difference between primary source and secondary source of data. Firstly, let us look at the definition of primary source and secondary source. So, according to the definition, primary source of data are those data which are first-hand information that is collected by researcher or any organization for specific purpose. So, primary source of data are the first-hand data which has been collected by researchers or any organization for the specific purpose. That is to analyze the any economic issues in the economic or at a individual level as well, right? Whereas secondary source of data, they are second-hand data, which means the data has been collected from another source, such as online websites, right? Data, articles. So the data has already been published by the another author for their specific purpose or reason. So do you have any doubt regarding the definition?
No, ma'am.
Are you clear? Now let us look at originality. So in the case of primary source of data, the data which has been extracted they are original, unique and more reliable for the research or for any studies. Whereas in the case of secondary source, the data are not original or they are collected for another reason. That's why they may not be reliable for your study or for your research. So in the case of primary, it is original, unique and more reliable. In the case of secondary source, the data are not original for your specific studies or for your research, and it may not be reliable for your studies as well. Now, in the case of collection method, it is direct data collection. Since we have already aware that it is first-hand information, so the data are directly collected from the various sources through survey, through interview, or through visual recordings, audio recordings. So the data are directly collected from the main source. Whereas in the case of secondary source, the data are second-hand information. So the data are collected from the existing source, such as from website, articles, then witness, any more? Through published source, unpublished source, right? Now, in the case of time and cost, it is in the case of primary source of data, it is time consuming and costly as compared to the secondary source. This is because when we enter into the field of research, we need to bear transportation costs, printing of questionnaires, and we also need to give tokens to the interviews. In this case, it is costly and time consuming. Whereas in the case of the secondary source, it consumes less time because we just need to search the information in the website and we will be able to get the information. So in this case, it is cost effective. So these are the main difference between primary source of data and secondary source of data. Are you aware of this now?
Yes.
Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Any clarifications to be made? Some any clarifications to be made?
No, ma'am.
No? Are you clear? Okay, sorry. So I have forgotten to mention in the case of original. So the data are original, whereas in the case of secondary, it is not original. So do you have any doubt regarding the difference between primary source and secondary source?
No.
This means any doubt? No? Clear? with these concepts now?
Yes, ma'am.
If you're here, now if you're clear, then let's identify this source into primary and secondary source. So I don't want the chorus answer. So group number 1 will identify on letter, group number 2 on article, group number 3 on bibliographs, group number 4 on visual records, and group number 5 on documentaries, and group number 6 on interview. So you need to identify whether it falls under primary or secondary. So I'll give you 1 minute to think on it. Think, discuss. Think. Done? Are you done? No? Time's up. Now let's hear from group number 1. So their assigned topic is letter. So does letter falls under primary source of information or secondary source?
Falls under primary source.
Primary source of
It falls under primary data because it is first-hand information
does
and
letter
it's
falls
original.
does letter falls under primary or secondary now?
Primary, ma'am. Primary.
How many of you say that it falls under primary? Raise your hand. Raise your hand properly. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, thank you so much. So letter, it falls under primary source of data because it is first-hand data and it is original.
Yes, ma'am.
Because the letter, it has been written by the author itself.
Yes, ma'am.
That's why it falls under primary source of data. Let's give a rain clap to this group. It's like this. You just need to increase your fingers. Okay, let's do it once again. 1, 2, 3. Now let's move on with articles. Let's hear from group number 2.
Article, it falls under secondary data because it is obtained from published source and it is not an authentic.
Is it right? Is it right? Yes. Does article falls under primary source or secondary source now?
Secondary.
How many of you say it falls under secondary? Right, it falls under secondary source of data because the information has already been published. Okay, let's give wow cheers to this group. 1, 2, 3. W-O-W. Wow, wow, wow. You are wonderful. Shall we move on? Group number 3.
Yes, ma'am.
Group number 3, does bibliography falls under primary or secondary source?
Primary source, because it is the first-hand information where we write about great people, like for example Guru Buchi, Namthame Guru Buchi or Shakti.
So class, would you go for the primary or secondary? Primary. It falls under primary source of data. Let's give thumbs up to this group. 1, 2, 3. Now let's move on with group number 4. So their assigned topic is visual records. So does it fall under primary or secondary?
Secondary man.
It falls under secondary? Primary?
Primary.
Are you sure? So class, does visual records falls under primary or secondary? Primary. So it falls under primary source of data. So what cheers do you want?
Rocket cheers.
Let's give rocket cheers as suggested by Kilenamge. Now let's move on with group number 5. Documentaries. Class, listen.
Documentary falls under secondary source because, for example, in order to make a documentary film, we need to have information first. So that's why it falls under secondary.
Class, is it right?
Yes, ma'am. Secondary.
What do you say? Does it fall under primary or secondary source?
Secondary.
Primary? Why? Documentaries can fall in both primary and secondary source of data. Because it can be both first-handed as well as second-handed information. So it falls under both primary and secondary source, depending on the source. If it is already published, then it falls under secondary. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now let's move on with interviews. Let's give cheers to them as well. What cheers?
Coconut cheers.
Coconut. C-O-C-O-N-U-T. Coconut. Coconut. Yes. It's for you. Shall we move on with interview?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Interview, it falls in primary source because it is first-hand information and it is collected from the particular person who have experienced.
Okay, thank you so much. So interview, it falls under primary source of data. So as already been explained by them. So what cheers do you want? Let's give it quickly.
Pom, great job, buddies.
Let's do it together. 1, 2, 3.
Pom, great job, buddies.
Okay, thank you. So class, does diaries fall under primary or secondary source? Primary. It falls under primary source of data. So this brings us to the end of this session. So today we have studied about the definition of data, and we have also studied about the types of data, and under this we have also classified it into primary and secondary source of data. So as a home task, I want you all to go back and study on the presentations of data. So are you clear?
Yes, ma'am.
And if you have any doubt, do let me know. Let's discuss tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.